welcome to a live stream for, a while. Okay, a very long time. Okay, I haven't done one in a long time. Leave me alone. I've been busy, all right? I've been fucking busy.
All right.
But yeah, I'm back. This is a live stream. I'm with Mr. Jensen Quinn. We should have a popular-ish YouTuber coming all the way from America to be able to talk to us about Donald Trump and the impeachment. But because he's busy on another stream at this minute in time, Sinatra's, he will be coming later. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off with all of the crap stories that we had line up. I mean, the filler stories. I mean, the stories that really matter.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have laughed. I couldn't hold it in any longer. Okay, hello, ladies, gentlemen, whatever the bloody hell else you want to call yourselves. We're here. We're going to talk rubbish, and hopefully you lot are going to enjoy it. There you go.
And when you said we're here, I thought you were going somewhere completely different to be a massive, great, should we say, ploy or segue into the next story.
Well, I was going to. I considered it. That's why there was that pause. But no, go on. Let's try and do this as professionals, just for the novelty factor.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we can say that we're professionals.
I'm a professional something. I'm just not necessarily going to say what.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday.
Good at it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, I can see that a couple of people have already turned off because we've already said that we're going to do the Trump thing later on. But we are going to be doing it. We are going to go into it. And there has been a bill that's been passed as well that's been hidden into the motion as well of the Trump impeachment bills as well, or motion, should I say, where somehow the Democrats sneakily have got $1 trillion dollars passed in the House to go all the way through to be ratified, so to speak. And some of the money on that one, when we get to it, is should we say interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, so we should be okay. I blame the UK election for Trump getting finally impeached. They're going for the Hail Mary play. I mean, I'm going to have to put that up, so I'm going to have to go to my Streamlabs shit to put that up because that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave that there. Very, very quickly. I'm not too sure that Boris Johnson had any inkling on the Democrats and their crazy, crazy ploy of trying to get Donald Trump impeached at any point, especially with the fact of now, considering it's been in the pipeline for a while. They just tried to find the right thing, which, if anybody actually was interested in the beginning of the impeachment, first of all, it's quid pro quo, then it's a case of it being something else, then it's something else, and now it's not actually any credible crime, or should I say any actual crime for impeachment. The only actual crime that you could say is Trump saying to his aides to not testify under subpoena. Technically, that's the only crime that you could say that he's committed. Other than that, I can't see any. But those are things that we will get into at a later point, unless, Mr. Quinn, you have something quickly that you would like to point on that.
No, to be completely honest, the entire thing's bloody ridiculous. And just as England actually gets its thumb out of its butt and finally starts going in the right direction, America just goes, hold my pint, let's see how much we can screw the world up.
Hey, dude, hold my beer.
It is, isn't it? They have looked at us and it's like, right, they're ballsing up. Damn it, they've gone normal. What do we do? Quick, let's be the weirdos. And I mean this with no disrespect to our American cousins, you poor little creatures. But sort yourselves out. Come on, guys. You managed to do it. You can do it too.
To be fair, Paulo Costa. Sorry, go on. You were saying, Mr. Quinn?
No, I'm saying all yours, mate.
No worries then. As Paulo Costa quite rightly says, though, anything that Carl Kalinske says I'd normally take as a pinch of salt, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, I suppose, in the allies that you can get on the opposite side. The thing about the impeachment is that Carl Kalinske, of all people, is right. Trump did take money from the Saudis, and he goes on to say, but nobody's going after him for that because every president's taken money from Saudis. Just have a look at the Clinton Foundation, or well, actually don't, because then you find out Russia and plutonium and how they paid for the Steele dossier. And sorry, Mr. Clinton, I will be quiet. I do not want to fall on a shotgun.
Yeah, I just want to point out to everybody, it's really sad to hear about CSG's coming suicide. It was an obvious suicide attack where he tied the rope to the top of the mouse hole and jumped, and still somehow broke his neck. Oh, it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't really defend it. It was just something that I felt that I needed to do after, talking about a certain person that cannot be named because
Of
Voldemort.
course. I still think the best bit was that was the Simpsons. You know how Bart does these writing on the blackboard in the
Yes.
beginning. They actually put Epstein didn't commit suicide as
Yes.
what he was writing. That
Yes.
was glorious.
Yep. No, I mean I completely like all of those type of stuff. So, I mean, I used to like doing all the conspiracy theories and everything else of that as part of the channel, but so many people take those type of things too serious. If you talk about it and even say at the beginning of the video or stream, whatever, that you're doing it as a thought experiment, somehow you still get classified as the conspiracy theorist that actually believes in those types of things. Now, some people do, some people don't. It doesn't really matter. But if you're literally saying, right, I'm doing this as a thought experiment, you can't really say that you do or you don't believe in it, but yet some people still say that you do. I find that amazing.
Yeah.
But
Totally
it's
agree,
the
mate.
internet. It's the internet.
Which means anything that makes perfect sense instantly gets added to the stupid box. But
Well, in that case, then that means that I should be in it.
no comment. Where do you want to start
Yay!
today, mate? Are we going to take the Mickey out of Labour for their unfortunate incident, or are we going to do one of your stories first? Because I know we're talking about Labour at some point.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about Labour. Well, I had so many people. I mean, I had a conversation with you about this before the election. So many people were trying to tell me that Labour were going to win. So many people were trying to tell me that they would get to the point where they were going to even be able to form a government with the SNP. And I said to you, didn't I? Tories will win by
Yeah,
a landslide.
yeah, there was no way people wanted Corbyn as the Prime Minister. I genuinely think if it was a race between him, Hitler, and Pol Pot, he'd still lose.
Well, I don't know. I reckon that there would be a joint government, a coalition between Stalin and Hitler.
Yeah, no, I'd accept that. And let's be honest, that would be kind of funny when you work on the idea that Hitler was rather against the Jews, but even he wouldn't want to have anything to do with Corbyn. And, Stalin, communism, Corbyn. Well, oh dear, what a shame, eh?
But to be fair, it wasn't real communism or Corbynism. Sorry, wrongism, wrongism.
Yeah. And hey, Sharati, yeah, that's right. The British are talking about the American impeachment because, after all, you guys obviously don't know what you're doing about it. There you go. That should rile her up.
I'd like to point out that I'm not the one that put that up there. But yeah, no, we are going to be talking about the Trump impeachment, but we're going to wait for a very special guest when he's finished with Sinatra Says to come on. So hopefully that should be quite interesting. But we are taking the piss out of Labour. I mean, we're giving condolences to Labour
Sorry.
and the left.
Did you hear what the people were saying to the Labour people going round at the doors? Yeah, we'd
Oh,
love to vote for you, but we
oh,
can't
carry on.
stand
Carry on.
Corbyn. It's the fact that that was heard more often than any other comment.
Yes, 70 something percent, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just
74.
that
Sorry.
absolutely tickles me. I mean, as I've mentioned once or twice, I've dropped subtle hints that I'm not a fan of Corbyn, or to
Mhm.
be accurate, I want him dipped in acid to catch space aids and then rolled in salt. And that's just to say hello.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to. Well, not unfortunately, actually, we're going to welcome Mr. Ranty Monkey to the group. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad. How's it going?
Not too bad at
Hello.
all. Not too bad at all. Thank you very much for coming.
Oh,
We
thanks
were
for
going
having
to
me.
a short. No worries. Carry on. Sorry.
Hang on 1 second here. Sorry, I had the stream playing in my ear. I was trying to get the link to send it out. I'm so sorry about that. Anyway, how's it going?
Yes, not too bad at all. Happy for you to be here. I'm the Common Sense Guy, or Jason, depending on what you want to call me. Either or doesn't bother me. And my partner in crime tonight is Mr. Quinn. How are you all doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
And nice to meet you, Mr. Monkey. It's the first time I think I've even, I knew anything about you, but, good to meet new people. So, hi.
I'm just a kind of quiet, shy guy on the internet. That's all.
Oh, good. Same here. I don't have much in the way of opinions about
Yeah,
things,
me
do
neither.
I, CSG?
I shy away from opinions.
Oh, yes. You
Yeah,
wouldn't want to be thought of as putting yourself out there too much, would you?
Oh, I don't want to be rude, is all. That's it.
Oh, cool. I think I'm gonna like this guy.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why I'm sub to him.
Fair play. All right. So, taking a piss out of
Actually, sub to him,
Corbyn,
though.
or are we going on?
Please stop. Carry on, Mr. Quinn.
Yeah, actually, you might want to put his link in the chat so as people can sub to him, but just a suggestion. Right. Taking the piss out of Corbyn, or are we going to go straight on to the, and how am I going to put this? Total balls up that's going on with the Americans, and I feel sorry for you.
What was that phrase? Total balls up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, cock up, fuck up, whatever you want to use.
I've never heard that before. That is wonderful.
Well, thank you. Yeah. If I at any point make a comment that you don't understand, please just ask. I'm unfortunately terrible for that. I will use colloquialisms that the Americans quite often don't understand.
I'm not shy about that at all. I don't know if you know, I rate Bear, I rate Alex. Me and him,
Yes, I do.
we're quite good friends, and we talk. And there's oftentimes like, "Stop! Wait, what did you just say?" So I get it. I get it.
Okay.
I'm good either way. If you guys want to take the piss out of Corbyn, you said you feel sorry for us for what's going on over here. That dude is a shit show for your country. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. I'll tell you what. We'll give you Corbyn, and do you know? I'll actually accept Nancy Pelosi.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
Oh,
CSG, come on.
No, because
It's
Nancy
it's-
Pelosi would actually get elected over here, where Jeremy Corbyn's got no chance.
that's a
Fair
fair point. And Corbyn would get elected here too, so it's a push for us.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you guys could send him down to California. He might accidentally catch something absolutely horrible and die in screaming agony. Oh, did I say that out loud?
These things
Damn.
happen. These things happen.
Oh,
AOC or no deal.
yeah.
Well played indeed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, to be fair, our media would actually crucify her rather than actually support her. So, yeah, okay, yeah, we can have AOC. We'll swap you.
Yep.
Okay, I also need to ask this
Go on.
real quick, as it's my first time on your show. How much can I swear?
As much as you want, free speech.
Okay, I can rein it in if you need me to, but just making sure. I don't like to go on somebody else's show and just start dropping F-bombs if, they're not that kind of crowd.
No, we're definitely that kind of crowd. We're pretty much working class down here. We don't hide away from anything.
Fair enough. Yeah. I come by mine naturally.
Pretty much the only word that would be considered naughty is the N word. Please
Oh,
note.
yeah,
Assume that. Though personally, I actually prefer to change it for jigaboo, but that's just me.
You absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was meant to tell you. You might want to do the warning, CSG. Whoops.
Oh yeah. Anything that may be discussed or talked about on this channel that is not directly from me is not endorsed by me and is directly to the person that is saying it and nothing to do with me.
And I'm for entertainment purposes only, y'all.
Just check his Twitter.
Okay, fair point. All right, so they lost. Yes. And more importantly, Boris won. I mean, people sit there and take the piss out of dear old Boris, but he is hilarious.
Yeah, but
okay.
if you add everybody up, though, Quinn, if you add everybody else up, they got the majority, though.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget that with the Labour, they might not have got the majority, but they still won the moral argument.
Yes,
sure.
Somehow,
Yeah.
they did, yes.
When I saw that.
Great. Their argument was apparently great. They just didn't have a clue on how to win the election.
Yeah, the problem they had was Corbyn. We all know this, okay?
The problem they had was too much nationalization. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't heard many people talk about Boris. What's it actually like over there for him, in your estimation? Because over here, they almost treat him not quite as bad as Trump, but like he's a joke that was forced upon you.
It depends who you talk to. Some people would say that he's the pound to Trump or the dollar version of Trump. So some people would say that. Most people that actually look at it objectively would say he's a bit of a weird one, but he seems like a nice guy. And generally that's where I think most people are. Though you're in London, Mr. Quinn, so you're more in the bubble than I am.
Yeah. How to put this bluntly? Nobody seems to really know what to make of dear old Boris. It's the whole, he's the Etonian nobility, but somehow, by some strange warped twist in the universe, seems to get on with basically most people. He is absolutely hilarious. You listen to him talk about people. I mean, some of the best comments he makes is when he just turns around and calls people tossers. I mean,
shivering jellies. He's finding shivering jellies.
Yeah. And his comments about the bomb boys and the letterboxes. The man has no filter. He's amazing. I think he's hilarious.
So I saw his it was a address he was giving. Well, I don't know if it's an address or a debate, you guys. It was right after he became prime minister, and him and Corbyn were kind of going at it in the House. I believe your House of Commons, correct?
Yes.
Prime Minister's questions normally on a Wednesday.
And it was fucking amazing because over here we try to pretend we're so polite. You'll see these guys just dog each other, but once they're on the floor, they're not allowed to actually be impolite to one another. And it's so fake and garbage looking. And then I watch your guys's, and I'm envious and in awe because at least it seems genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's still a certain amount of civility, but it's a civil way of calling somebody like you're an asshole, sir, kind of thing.
Yes, that is something we are quite good at. I mean, the British are known for our dry wit, which is polite way as I put it, and shut up, Shirati, just generally shut up. She is going to murder me, literally. Seriously, she's going to beat the living crap out of me for that. But
well, that's what you get for telling a woman to shut up. You should know better by now.
Yes, it's keep your mouth closed, woman, is what they prefer.
Until I ask you to open.
Yeah, you may well regret that one. Okay, I never said
My
that,
missus
Sharad.
doesn't watch these shows, so I'm fine.
Yeah, you may get to live, maybe. Anyway, right. What was we saying? Oh yes, dear old Boris. Now, and there she goes. Now that Boris has actually made it and got the majority that he needs.
Mhm.
I love the fact he's turned round to Europe and said, screw you guys, we're putting no deal back on the table and we're enshrining it as law so as it can't be removed. That is brilliant.
Are you guys both Brexiteers?
How did you guess?
I'm intuitive that way. I got to tell you, from the outside, it looks like you guys are never leaving. And I hope Boris gets it done. And I've said since the beginning, you guys should just say no deal. If you guys had done that from the beginning, you guys would already be back to where you need to be. Your new trade deals would be in place with all except for probably most of Europe, because they'd be jerks about it because they're European.
Well, I disagree with that. Not the jerks. I mean, I agree with that bit. But the deals themselves, we still have deals that are already prior in place before Brexit or the EU was even conceived. Like, for instance, with trading customs with Calais, we already had prior agreements and trade deals and what do you call it between each country? Immigration
Gotcha.
where they can come from the tunnel and come out of the tunnel and go backwards and forwards. We already have all of that already set up. And those would be the first things that would actually be set up. And we can actually do that independently of the EU as well.
Oh, sure. And that's kind of my point is when Brexit was first passed, you saw everybody freak out. The market crashed for like a day, and it didn't even really crash that far because everybody, this is going to destroy their economy. Like, it's really not. It's not the end of the world. It would take a few days to get at least initial trade deals worked out to keep things moving, and then the longer term ones could come. I think you guys would just be better off just saying, especially with the deals the EU has offered you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm completely
Dear
with you.
Lord. It's like, how about you stay in the EU, but you have no power to do anything here? How about that? Like, yeah, that's
well, if you're Corbyn and Labour, then you're going to accept that straight away and then actually have a vote on it afterwards.
Yeah.
That was classic.
Oof.
Yeah,
there is a certain reason why they lost the election. I can't
imagine. No, it's terrible. Anyway, anything else you want to say about the election, CSG? Because I've been taking a piss out of Corbyn pretty much since we started. So your turn.
There's so much material there.
Oh, there is.
There so is. The only thing that I would actually point out about the election is that when so many people were so put off, and by people I generally mean the left, were so put off about people having the election. Labour put it off 3 times after being asked if they were supposed to have an election 3 times in the Commons, and when they did actually have it, they lost. So one would think that after the opposition would always want to have the opportunity to take power. They rejected it 3 times and then realized that they actually had no choice but to accept it because they were being called out on the rejection. It's amazing that, the children actually got kicked out of the house. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice way of putting it, mate. Oh, dear. Right.
Mr. Monkey, I know that you've just been on with Sinatra Says, and I know that you've been going through all of that as well. Would you like to kick us off with this amazing precedent that is apparently going on with your president?
The great impeachment of Donald J. Trump.
Yes, the great Gatsby himself.
In truth, I enjoy talking about this stuff, so I could do it for hours, and I probably will. So yes, yesterday the House voted to impeach the president, and a lot of people, both inside and outside of the country, don't understand exactly what that means. I've been asked a lot about this. So if you'd like, I can go through the process and exactly what it means.
Well, the first thing that I would like to ask, if I may, obviously,
please,
is obviously, that a lot of people think that because he's been impeached by the House, that he's no longer a sitting president. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not the case, but I would like to be able to confirm that before I start spouting my mouth off.
That is absolutely incorrect. Just because he's been impeached does not mean he's not president anymore. He has to be removed by the Senate to not be president anymore.
I thought so.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I was talking about when I said people inside and outside this country. If you love Twitter the way I do, there's a whole bunch of people that are anti-Trumpers who seem to be under the impression that, yeah, he's not president anymore. That's not how this works. The House, it's basically, if you were talking about a court case, it would be the prosecution setting up their case is what the House vote is, the impeachment vote itself.
So it's like a pre-trial then. Basically, it's getting
Yes.
everything set up ready for it. A magistrate's type of court, pre-hearing.
Yes, exactly. And then what happens is it goes over to the Senate and there's an actual trial. The House acts as the prosecution. The president gets to have his team over there defending him, and our Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice, presides over it just like an actual court. And unless 2/3 of the Senate votes to convict him of the crimes, he gets to stay in office. So at this point, they need 64 senators to vote to kick him out, which is just never going to happen.
Not unless it's 67%, doesn't he? 67% of the Senate to be able to get a impeachment.
Yeah, sorry. So 67 senators. My math was, look, I'm tired. No, I just screwed it up. That's all. Yeah. So it's 2/3 majority. It has to be a 2/3 majority to vote to kick him out. And right now, the Republicans hold the Senate a slim majority. I can't remember. Is it 54, 56, something like that? Out of the 100 senators are Republican, and there's no way they're voting to kick him out. So what it does is just gives the Democrats the chance to say, "Hey, I impeached him." That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
Apparently,
Mr. Quinn, after you.
Okay. Apparently, one of the major disadvantages that will come out of this, again, please put in the air quotes there, is the fact that the media are going to be able to say things like the impeached president, Donald J. Trump, everything he does from here on in, up to and including the impeached president, Donald J. Trump, was seen walking his dog. They are going to keep mentioning that for no good bloody reason.
Which is going to be funny if he's reelected in 2020, because they're going to have to say the impeached president, Donald J. Trump, was reelected.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a burn. If that happens, and right now I think that's probably likely, that's going to be a burn the Democrats are not going to be able to get over. Because they hung their hat on this.
Yes.
This is their big move for the election, no matter what else you think is going. This has nothing to do with the rule of law or any of the other crap they tried to spew during all this stuff. Acting like they've actually read our Constitution.
But that's one thing that's really annoyed me from being an Englishman from outside looking in. I can't actually see what law that Donald Trump has actually broken to be impeached. Apart from, stopping people that were subpoenaed from testifying, if that actually happened.
Well, even in that case, what is this? This is not something that is new. The Congress does have oversight over a lot of what goes on with the executive branch. And when there's a conflict, what they do is they take it to court. And then the court decides, because we have 3 co-equal branches of government here, and the judiciary is one of them. And Congress, that one of the charges is not contempt of Congress, obstruction of Congress, because he didn't just turn over everything. It was like, well, if you thought that was a big deal, you should have went to court and waited for it to play itself out, which they refused to do.
Yeah,
it's literally nonsense they made up so that they could push it through.
I mean, I've been watching it as an outside interest, because fortunately for us English, we had an election, and to us that was slightly more important for obvious reasons. And I've been watching it slightly, and every time that I ever saw a Republican that was in the House that was having this, I say meeting, but pre-hearing,
Sure.
basically was saying, look, there's no evidence of any crime whatsoever, or paraphrasing, obviously. So what are you actually impeaching him on? And every time they kind of just completely missed what the Republican was saying and just went off to another tangent. And then the Republican would just go, well, thanks for admitting that evidence, because it actually doesn't say what you think it says.
They the two articles of impeachment. The first one is abuse of power, and then the second one is the obstruction of Congress. The abuse of power one is interesting because what they tried proving here is that Donald Trump forcibly made Ukraine come out and say that they were going to investigate Joe Biden. Joe Biden is one of the Democratic nominees, or not nominees, candidates for the nomination for the presidential general election coming up next year.
Yeah, we know about him, Creepy Joe.
Oh, Creepy Joe and his blonde hair. And children sitting in his lap, and he knows about roaches. God, that guy's a disaster.
Don't forget, if you're in the swimming pool, rub my leg.
Rub my leg. Oh, God. That dude.
And the sniffing of the hair, which is fascinating.
And he's a very handsy guy. Very handsy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
anyway, carry on, sir.
Yeah, there's no evidence that he said, if you don't give me what I want, then I'm not going to give you this money. But even if he had, there's no law there. And they tried to make it one by claiming the emoluments clause, which is you can't get anything of value from another country without the approval of Congress first. And that blew up in their face.
Is now valuable, and can they put a tangible value on that information?
Well, that's what they tried proving, and they backed away from that one pretty quickly because they realized they couldn't. And so then it actually started with the words quid pro quo.
Yes.
Which, by the way, not illegal.
No, I know. It's shoddy behavior, but it's not illegal.
Sure.
Well, maybe it's not even shoddy, depending on what the quid pro quo actually is. But yeah, as you say, not illegal.
Not illegal. And then they tried making it bribery, which is actually illegal. And it is mentioned in our Constitution when it comes to impeachment.
Wait,
treason, bribery.
In 2016.
What's that?
17. Didn't Biden do that in 2017?
He actually did it in 2015 and bragged about it in 2017.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. He literally did this and bragged about it, saying that he was withholding $1 billion in guaranteed loans from Ukraine if they didn't do what he wanted. Which is
sort of a welfare, not welfare. Wasn't it actually to do with as in it was a helping fund? It was actually to help them with something. It wasn't actually loans, as in they were borrowing money off of them. It was actually kind of a welfare type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's what it is with. It's basically foreign aid, but they call a loan, but it's a guaranteed loan, so there's nothing that can go wrong with it. If you can't pay it, oh well, we got it. And this was all over the prosecutor who was looking into the company his son got a really sweetheart job from. Okay, so Joe Biden goes over to Ukraine and he has a public or an official meeting with them. He leaves, and his son Hunter, who was on that trip with him, was it 3 months later? 3 weeks? Yeah, a month or 3 months. I can't remember which one. He gets put on the board of this company called Burisma. Yeah. Burisma is a state-run gas company, I believe it is, where he was making $50,000 a month.
Yeah,
and he had no experience in this company, in this field at all. And so people were like, "That's kind of strange." Well, Burisma got in trouble for other stuff, and there was a prosecutor over there who was looking into it. And Joe Biden, what happened in this specific case? He said, I want this prosecutor fired, or we're not giving you this money.
Yes.
And that's what he bragged. He literally bragged about what they're accusing Trump of.
You can't have any of that, because obviously Donald Trump is purposely trying to stop a candidate not for nomination from actually getting a nomination.
Yes.
Not actually trying to, investigate almost treason.
Indeed, right?
treason, but
No, we're talking about absolute corruption of power. What they're accusing him of.
Yes.
So yeah, then we get on. They find out about this phone call from a whistleblower, and it's so stupid. It really is to say it out loud. A phone call that Trump, as soon they're like, this phone call came out. A New York Times piece came out on a Friday. I want to say early September. Yeah, it was early September. I think I want to say around the 9th. It was within the first 2 weeks of September. And immediately Nancy Pelosi, well, it was 4 days later, she announces, okay, there's an impeachment inquiry, which means that's the start of the official investigation. The day after that, Donald Trump released the phone call. He released the transcripts of the phone call going, what? And so far, they haven't proven or shown any crime. And that's the part that for people like me is really sticking. If I thought Donald Trump committed a crime, I would have no problem saying impeach him. I think there's crimes that you can do that you should be impeached for, but not necessarily removed for. Because in that way, it's kind of a slap on the hand. And that's what happened with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was impeached and not removed back in 1998.
Yeah, but that was because he left voluntarily, though, because he knew he'd lose.
No, Clinton never left. Clinton, you're thinking of Nixon.
Okay.
Bill Clinton was impeached, and he ended up getting impeached for perjury. He, through other investigations, he ended up giving a deposition where he was asked if he had sex with several different women, and he lied about it under oath.
Yeah,
the famous quote.
I did not
have sexual relations with that woman.
Monica Lewinsky. Yeah. So he ended up getting impeached for that. And I have no problem with him getting impeached because he did lie about it. But I don't think that's worthy of removing a president. So if I thought Donald Trump did something wrong, sure, impeach him. If it was bad enough, yeah, absolutely remove him. But he didn't either. He did nothing to deserve impeachment nor removal. You have a super chat there.
What the hell?
That's what a super chat looks like.
That's something I've never had before. I've never had that before. Does anybody know what Pelosi thinks she can gain by waiting, or what reason Mitch has to cave to her?
Okay, that brings up another point. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd let you go first on that one. The only thing I would say myself on that one is Pelosi's biding her time. She knows that if she takes it to the Senate, it will get, even if he did do something, probably get voted out because, as Monkey said, they wouldn't get the majority in the Senate. It is what they're waiting for to run, in my opinion, for the election. So when it comes to a point of them being run as an election, they can start throwing the Senate trial at him and say, look, he's almost going to get impeached. What's the point of voting for him? That's my opinion.
What he's talking about there is once it's passed the House, it goes to the Senate. Pelosi is talking about trying to negotiate with the Senate to get trial on her terms, even though she has no say over the Senate. And if they don't do it the way she wants, well, then she just won't send the articles of impeachment over. What does she think she can gain by this? She thinks she can show that the Republicans aren't being fair to the Democrats, which is going to blow up in her face, because what it really does is make her look like she's playing politics with the impeachment of a fucking president. Which to a lot of us, even if you don't like Trump, it's like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's not how we do things. So yeah, that's what she thinks she's going to gain. She thinks she's going to twist their arm and either make them give in or make them look like the ones playing politics. And she's wrong. She's absolutely wrong about that. Why would Mitch give in to her? He's not. Mitch is not the Republican they think he is.
Well, I'd actually like to ask your point about Mitch is not the Republican they think he is. Are you suggesting he's a rhino by chance?
No. Rhinos are a big problem here in the U.S. And I don't think it's necessarily that they're always rhinos. I think a lot of times what happens is a Republican will get voted into office running on a certain platform. And then they get into office and it's time to vote for that, but the press isn't on that side. So they turn into quivering pansies. just complete bitches. And we had the last one that I remember was Senator Trent Lott, who ran the Senate for a long time, and they were able to manipulate the shit out of him. Democrats he was their whipping boy. Mitch McConnell's not like that. He doesn't give a damn. Not one damn what Nancy Pelosi thinks of him. They think they can come in and bully him, and Mitch is just going to tell him to go get fucked because he doesn't care.
Okay, cool. All right, now, sorry, just you'd made the point about him, not being a standard Republican, so I just wanted to check. And just as a minor, tiny point, bit of a silly thing, really. Does that mean that if rhinos are on one side, we've actually got dinos on the other?
Oh, yeah, there's dinos out there.
Okay, just something, I wanted to make the point of. It was, it's something I've been meaning to speak to an American about, but just never actually got round to doing it. Thank you for your answer, sir.
Oh, sure. No, you see dinos more in state politics, where it's more localized. When they get into the House and the Senate, they don't. This may sound conspiratorial. Call it what you think, but the Democrats in the House and Senate typically have the press on their side, so they can go in there and be who they say they are. Where Republicans, they go in there and I don't know, say a border funding. There's one, the border wall. The border wall's not Trump's baby. He didn't invent that. That has been around for decades. And for decades, Republicans have ran on the idea, we're going to put up a border wall. And then they get into office and none of them try to get it done because it doesn't look good in the papers.
I've got something to ask you very, very soon after we conclude. That's not straight away, obviously, but once we conclude with the impeachment side of things, I've got something to ask you on one of the bills that got snuck through.
Oh, sure.
But we'll carry on with the impeachment to begin with, though.
Well, there's not a lot more to say about it unless you have specific questions there. It's unfortunately the way our founders wrote it and did it. It can be a very political process. The worst example was Andrew Johnson when he got impeached. None of our presidents have ever been removed. Richard Nixon stepped down because he was going to be, but we've had 3 presidents impeached. All 3 of them survived trial. Andrew Johnson, go ahead.
Go on, sorry. No. You were explaining what's going on with the impeachment, so please carry on.
Yeah, Andrew Johnson, he was not a very popular president, and at the time it was Republican controlled. The Republican House and Senate, they had a veto-proof majority, and so they passed all kinds of nonsense laws, including one that said he couldn't fire people in his cabinet, and he wanted to fire somebody, and he did. So they impeached him for this, a law that was deemed by pretty much everybody completely unconstitutional.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a purely political process. In the others, it hasn't been. In the others, it hasn't been that political. It's been more. I mean, the politics is impossible to get away from. It just is. But they tend to at least look for an actual crime, and this is the first time that nobody can find one where it's been purely about the politics. And unfortunately, our Constitution allows for that. And that's what the Senate trial is for, to keep that from actually having any meaning.
Thank God for that one, for your side of it. The Dark Conservatarian puts in $2 saying, "Is it me or does it ranting monkey sound like filthy heretic?"
Do I?
I not really. not really, to be fair, but the high Dark Conservatarian, I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Maybe it's just the accent.
Probably. I suppose the only question that I myself have is that I kind of see that the process is mainly political. I see that the people that are supporting this process are mainly stuck to one particular side. What is it that they actually feel that they're going to do with this? Because if Donald Trump, for some strange reason, is the first proper president to get impeached properly and removed, then they're going to have Mike Pence. Is that really what they want?
Well, the thinking is that what happened to Nixon will happen. After Nixon stepped down, Gerald Ford became became president. He was the vice president at the time, and he pardoned Richard Nixon for his crimes. And that really the country's like, oh hell no, this guy was dirty as hell, and you pardoned him for it. Which was kind of the deal that was made when Ford was put in place anyway. Yeah, we got some dirty laundry, you guys. But what happened is the country just turned. They're like, you know what? Screw Republicans, and they voted in Jimmy Carter. So what they're thinking is going to happen is if you get rid of Trump and Pence is the president, he'll be stained by Donald Trump and lose easily. So they'd have to sit through maybe a year of Mike Pence, and then they'd be able to go, you know what, we'll win in a landslide just because of the stench of Trump being on Pence.
Well, that's another thing that I would want to ask. For instance, if with our political system, if our prime minister was to have a general election, then they don't generally or have to be the same prime minister. We can have anybody as the leader of the Conservatives or vice versa, Labour, whatever. Is that the way that it works for the presidency? If you're a Republican and you have Donald Trump, does that mean that he has to run as the Republican ticket for a second term if he wants to? Or is there no way of replacing him, or if it's somebody else that's a Democrat?
No. They another Republican or whoever could run for the Republican ticket, and if they beat him in the primaries, then they would be the nominee. It wouldn't necessarily keep people from writing in his name or anything. It could happen. I don't know if it ever has. To my knowledge, it hasn't.
I can't think, which is why I asked.
It is perfectly possible. I just don't think it's ever happened, because every election we still have the primary beforehand. So the main parties get together and we'll vote for our Democratic nominee and the Republican nominee, and then they go head to head in the general. So somebody could knock him out of the primary. We call it primarying somebody because it happens more in smaller races than I've ever even heard of it tried in the general.
No, that's fair enough. The only other question that I have, which I keep on finding more and more apparently.
Oh, please.
is when it comes to... No, I've lost the question. Completely lost the fucking question. Amazing.
I've been there.
Amazing.
Okay, I've got one then. Give CSG a chance to pat his 2 brain cells and see if they'll work.
I've got one you.
You're saying about the writing in of names. Does that actually work in your country?
It could. It doesn't, because not enough people write in votes. You might see it work on a really small local level. I can't remember if I've ever heard of it working on a statewide level, and certainly not nationally.
Okay, the reason I asked, because over here, if you basically make any other mark apart from the cross in the box of choice, it's automatically a null and void vote, I believe. Now, CSG might be able to tell you otherwise, but that is what I've heard.
You're correct.
Okay, cool.
Well, over here, each state has its own laws. For my state, and I can't comment on all of them because I'm not that versed in it, but in my state, you get the choice to, we have an arrow, in the middle of the arrow is empty, and you fill in the arrow for the one you're voting for. And so like our last election was Hillary and Trump, and then there were a whole bunch of other candidates like Jill Stein and who else? Who cares? But at the very bottom, there's one for, I can't remember if it says other or write-in, and you fill in that arrow and you write in the person's name. So yeah, it's still a real vote. It's just you write in who it is you're voting for.
Okay, right. Now we know we need to find a way of getting everyone to vote for MC because he would just be an absolutely outstanding president. I don't know if you know MC, but he's our local. I'm trying to find the right way. No, there is no right way of putting it. He's our local conservative nut job. He is absolutely outstanding. He's not one of those people that holds back an opinion. Okay, I mean, he will go at it and he will point out exactly how he feels about you. And the best thing is, he does it all without swearing.
True, actually. No, he actually does that without swearing. I was going to say no, he does, but I haven't actually heard him swear. He's been very annoyed and very shouty, but yeah, no, he's never actually swore. Bless him.
Well, in 3 years, I've heard him swear 4 times.
Yeah.
I can go without swearing. I used to have real jobs where I had to keep from swearing when I was talking to people, so it can be done.
Yeah.
It's just not my natural state, is all.
No.
Can I address something in your chat real fast?
Sure.
Sharadi, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pence is his own man. He's probably the best person for Trump to have picked to offset his boisterousness. I'm not saying Pence isn't his own man. What we were talking about there was the stench of Trump being on him.
Yeah.
The idea is that the nation itself would just be against Republicans, so it wouldn't matter who was there. It could be Jesus, and they'd be like, no, I don't want him. He's too close to Trump. It's not a bad thing for the vice president, whoever it happens to be. It's just that we tend to get very uppity over here over that. Like, you know what? Just screw all of those guys, and we end up paying for it. Like I said, we got Carter last time, so if you don't know about the Carter years over here in America, woo.
To be fair, saying getting uppity over there, I've remembered my question, and my question was obviously, well, not obviously. I don't know. You may not be, but have you been paying attention to the Democratic nominee? And if you have, if you had to pick one, who would it be? And you can't pick Tulsi because she's pretty.
I because Tulsi's pretty, I don't think she could ever win. American women are catty as hell, man. But Shradi, do you go by the name Prospero on another account?
No, different person. I know Prospero.
Because the similarities to being yelled at are very similar. The similarities are similar. I just said that.
A yeller.
I like it. It's fun. But you were asking about the Dem primary. I had been saying Biden, believe it or not.
Ew.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Biden's an old school politician. And so many of these ones running right now, they're just not. We have a lot of them who call themselves, I'm actually getting chills, Democrat socialists.
Yeah.
You have this whole crowd right now that's running who they have no, this is going to sound weird with Trump as our president, but no couth. They have no respect for the system. Biden is old school, and he's been there long enough that he's going to do not just what he thinks is best for the party, but what he thinks is, I don't want to say best, how do I want to say this? I think he would do what he actually thinks is best for the country. And you can disagree with me about that. However, what I mean by that is I would disagree with everything he did, but he's not going to get in there and just push all kinds of commie socialist garbage because he knows it would kill him.
Yeah.
And it would kill us. You have a lot of them that are running right now that they don't know that because they've been to college and that's the extent of their experience in life.
Yeah, we have that over here as well, to be fair. I've been to college. That means I'm going to be a doctor, but anybody that voted for Trump, I'm going to kill. Yeah,
I mean, but I honestly do think Biden is starting to suffer some kind of dementia. And I don't say that with any happiness or glee Now, don't get me wrong. I will make fun of the stuff he says because it's funny as shit.
Yeah.
But
See this week.
yeah, he keeps having these moments where it's like, I don't think he knows who he is right now.
Yeah.
And I mean that quite sincerely. And I generally don't think he should be running right now. And if you're going to vote for Biden, you're going to be voting for his vice president, because I don't think he'll last a single term.
No.
It's certainly not mentally. So beyond him, God.
Sorry, I'm going to have to say this. Please carry on afterwards. But obviously with Trump, they did. They tried to do the. Well, they did do the psychoanalysis on him to make sure that he was apparently fit for presidency.
Sure.
Do you think that would happen with Biden, and do you think he'd pass?
Yes and yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Ronald Reagan passed his, and
fair play.
There's very little doubt that at least in the later term of his second term, Reagan was gone.
Yeah, I can't argue that one.
I mean, in his prime, he was brilliant, but by the end, he was a doddering old fool.
Yeah,
and we know he had Alzheimer's. But God, I don't know that there's another one that I would be at all comfortable with. Not a one of them.
What about? I'm probably going to say his name wrong, but what about Buttigieg? Or
Buttigieg.
Yes.
Buttigieg, however you want to say it. They just call him Mayor Pete because it's easier to say.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I think he's one too green, and I mean, behind the ears, not Green Party-ish.
Yeah.
But two.
I didn't think that he was that type of person. I didn't think he was what we would call an eco-warrior type thing.
I don't know that he is either. I know that he's being easily pushed around by the press. He's being easily pushed around by the people around him. Mm. He doesn't seem like a man of principle. He seems like a man who wants power.
Yeah, dangerous man then.
Yeah. No matter what anybody says about Joe Biden, at least when he was healthy, he was a man of principle.
Mm.
I might disagree with his principles, but I knew where he stood. I don't know where the rest of these people stand.
Mm.
And that's dangerous, because that's what they want: power. They want to be elected to be president. They don't want to be elected to fix something or to help the country. They want power. And that scares the fuck out of me.
I think Sharati has a bit of an opinion on Mayor Pete. I'm not sure she's quite, controlled in her words, but
I think she's right.
I kind of have to agree with her after Monkeys explained the fact that he just wants power.
But again,
it's that pliable, as in I will do anything to make sure that I'm in power, is not worth having in, and is a dangerous person, because whoever controls and pulls the strings is the one that's in power, not him.
Yes. Yeah. And he's been pushed around so much. I mean, they've actually made him apologize for things that are standard talking points for Democrats over here.
Hmm.
And it's both funny and horrible to watch, because it's like, be a man, mother. Oh, I was about to drop a horrible one. I don't like saying motherfucker too often.
Fine. Motherfucker is fine.
Yeah, be a man, motherfucker. Stand up for something. I don't care what it is, but stand up for something.
Yeah.
It's another one. I don't really like Bernie Sanders. And he's a man of principle, but I just don't want no commie in my fucking country.
No, I completely understand you. I like Jeremy Corbyn for that only reason, that he is so devout to his beliefs, whether I agree with them or not, that he's so principled on them that he will not divert from them. And I have to respect that in a person.
El Tiburon in chat says, I don't see how any of the people running right now, aside from Biden, sell themselves to the center of the American electorate. Exactly. They are so left, and unfortunately, they're all pliable candidates, even Bernie to an extent, where they don't seem to stand on principle, and that bothers me. You need to have something that you believe in. I guess the other closest one would be Elizabeth Warren, who believes in giving everybody's money away.
See, I like Yang, but that's probably because I look at him in snippets and I don't actually understand the whole picture with him, apart from his universal payment fucking thing where he's going to give $1,000 to everybody. Everything else I kind of like, apart from that.
Please, may I just butt in as we're talking about Yang?
Sure.
CSG, did you see the clips of him with the squirty cream? I just
Oh my
wanted to
God.
know that.
I did. He looked very, very reminiscent to a porn I watched once.
Indeed, right? Oh my goodness, it was horrible.
I watched that, and I'm actually sitting, and I'm generally quite hard to shock. It's one of the things about me. But I actually sat there thinking to myself, what the hell are you doing? You are literally humiliating yourself
It's the
on
second one
camera.
that gets me. It's the second person that gets me because he kind of touches him on the shoulder and then goes straight to his knees, and Yang's just like, "Yeah, motherfucker, have it." And the other bloke tries to pull him away, and you're just like, "You're enjoying that way too much, Yang." Away.
His candidacy is kind of a weird one. I call him the frat boy candidate.
Yeah.
Because that's what he seems like to me. He seems like a perfectly nice guy. But if you actually look at his policies and stuff, I mean, he's as commie as the other ones are. UBI is actually universal basic income, is actually a communist idea. It's, everybody gets a taste.
Yeah.
Were you trying to do a pun there?
No. Oh, but I see what you, No, I wasn't. I was just saying. But Yang is another one that I don't think people who talk about him actually look into the rest of the stuff he says. They see UBI and they stop there. But if you actually go look, if you don't like somebody like Elizabeth Warren, I can't understand why you'd like somebody like Andrew Yang. And this is a problem with a lot of those candidates too, is their policies and proposals that they've stated, as much as they will, are almost identical. There's very little difference to any of them. Same with Tulsi Gabbard. You mentioned her earlier. She is not this. I've heard so many people. She's the reasonable one. Have you read what she's actually said? Because she's
not the center, or even some people I've heard her say that she's the most right leaning. It's like you haven't heard some of her policies. The only thing that she's right leaning on is wars.
Yes, exactly. The rest of it is very much far left nonsense. So I don't trust any of these little shits. I wish Biden was healthier, because if we have to have one of them, and it is a possibility, a healthy Biden would have been my choice.
Who do you think will win, though? Because me personally, I've got it down to Warren or Sanders.
Right now, if Biden can stay healthy enough to survive, he'll win. Short of that, fuck, I don't know. My gut says Mayor Pete, and here's why. The Democratic National Committee, the people who sorry, I gotta open my soda, and I do this live. It's fine. Just me. That is the nectar of the gods opening, you guys. That is some Diet Pepsi right there.
Ew, Diet Pepsi.
Hey, we were friends a moment ago.
How
dare
Dr.
you, sir?
Pepper. Dr. Pepper, mate.
Diet Dr. Pepper is one of 2 diet drinks that actually taste like the regular one. So I'll give you that. The other one being A&W, guys. Diet A&W. Oh, it's just not lovely.
Yeah, luckily enough, we don't have that.
Oh, man, that sucks. It's really good. What were we talking about? I get distracted so easy.
Yang.
We were talking about Yang and his gang, and how the fact that you think that Buttigieg was going to win, Mayor Pete was going to win.
Yeah, of the ones that still exist, there's one. Her name is Amy Klobuchar. She's probably one of the most centrist ones out there, although she's another one that she's swaying with the wind. You don't know where she actually stands. She just wants to be elected. Nobody likes her. She's kind of a cunt, so she's got no chance. Your other centrists would be, well, not even centrists. You're looking for a corporate candidate, is what they call them. Yeah. Would be Cory Booker, who has no chance. And then Mayor Pete.
To put him through so far as he has done, because he contradicts himself to the point where he actually said, I can't remember if it was a trial or if it was a hearing or whatever, where he actually said, no, I'm actually going to basically incriminate myself by saying that I am definitely going to actually share this with the rest of the world, even though it's classified and marked as classified information.
Oh, that was his Spartacus moment. And when he did that, that information had already been released.
Yeah.
He was trying. Yeah,
Wow.
he actually said, "This is my Spartacus moment," which probably is why nobody takes him seriously. He's a decent candidate, to be honest. He's still got the commie streak in him, which I don't like. And people get mad. They say it's socialist. Like, it's commie. It's commie light. I don't care what you call it. It's still commie.
Well, every single socialist I've ever spoken to, if they're honest, always goes, well, socialism is the prelude to communism. Communism is the goal.
That's what Marx said. So if you're a Marxist, like most of them are, because they think that's the only way communism ever worked, which it never worked. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I hate doing that on. It snuck up on me, guys.
No worries, man.
Without Biden, the party is not going to let somebody like Warren or Sanders become their standard bearer, because they are hardcore socialists. And in Bernie's case, that man's a fucking communist. I don't care what anybody tries to say. This is a man who took his honeymoon. He took his honeymoon in Soviet Russia.
Yeah. And then come back and actually said, oh, it's really nice, even though somebody I once knew actually was executed there.
Yeah. This dude's, anyway, the party's not going to let themselves be drugged that far left. And if they do, they're going to end up shattering. So what they'll do is they'll find a way to mute those two idiots and push somebody else up. And the only one I see viable right now would be maybe Buttigieg. You have a man named Michael Bloomberg who's just recently entered.
Yeah. So
billionaire shitbag.
Yep.
The one who actually said we have to keep poor people poor to help them out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, he I don't remember where he was, but he said we have to keep them poor. That way they can concentrate on making themselves better and educating themselves and getting ahead in life. I'm like, oh, you're a dick.
Pretty much. He's always been a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Name Bloomberg actually rings a bell. Yeah, he's that Bloomberg, the one that owns, Bloomberg.
Tiburon says Bernie isn't even a Democrat when he's not running for president. He caucuses them, but claims to be an independent. Yeah, he claims to be an independent. He likes to take that mantle. Do you know why he's an independent? Because he lost a primary to run as a Democrat in Vermont. So he ran as an independent.
To be fair, it's always, I mean, what you've just said with the DNC and everything about how they may or may not, obviously because of YouTube, choose who actually wins.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how in the primary, everybody generally wanted Sanders, obviously the last term, not this one.
That's not exactly true.
Most Democrats is what I was meaning.
No, and I get you, but the truth of the matter is Bernie was going to lose anyway. The Democrats, they were dirty in that last election to try to make sure Hillary was their candidate.
Yeah.
But if you look at all of the election data going up to where they say this, and they had something in the Democrats back then called the super delegates, so that just in case the candidate was losing, they could still win. But they didn't even have to pull those in. Bernie just didn't have a chance. He really didn't. He got a very popular appeal, and actually finding out that they were screwing him helped him a lot more than people want to admit. But he wasn't going to win anyway.
The reason why I brought it up was, as you were saying with the DNC, if anybody actually wants to have a look at the fact of thinking that, the DNC wouldn't try to influence anybody or anything, just take that one as the most recent and realize that, they would. If they didn't want somebody to win, they would actually put it in.
I was informed that in Alaska, there was a write-in vote where somebody won a statewide election, and also that no president has lost a primary challenge, but they've never won the re-election if they had a strong one. Just to clarify those points from earlier. And thank you so much for pointing that out. I don't usually share DMs, and those came to me in DMs, but I'm not telling you who sent them, so I feel it's okay. They can give me permission if they want. But those are points that need brought up. So again, I don't know everything about everything, guys. So when I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. I don't fucking know. It would be nice if politicians did that once in a while.
Yes.
That's actually funny.
That
I
would
love
actually-
that
I
as a
agree with.
concept.
Yeah, that I definitely agree with. It would be nice for politicians to actually say, look, I got it wrong. The reason why I'm U-turning, as the media would like to say, is because I got it wrong and I
Yeah.
made a mistake.
I screwed up. It happens. I'm human.
Exactly. Why is
but
it we
yeah,
have to always think that politicians are these, as you quite rightly said before, I used the term, but I don't mean it in its way. As a super delegate, as somebody who's superhuman, that always has to be right and knows exactly what they're doing all the time.
right.
Because
Yeah.
anybody else at that pinnacle, why we should put our politicians there?
And it was El Tiburon who said that. I always fuck up your name, dude, and I'm sorry about that. You know I'm horrible with names. You've been with me long enough. But he was the one that shared that information. So thank you for that. Yeah, like I said, I know stuff. I don't know everything. Oops. I'm human. Don't let the
Don't
monkey
go
picture
admitting
fool
that, man. Come on, you're not that
Hmm.
bad. We know how bad
Uh,
humans are.
you. You got me a free space on the privilege bingo. But yeah, our election is going to be fun. It's starting to come up, and this is my favorite time of our political season. What's coming up? The Democratic primary comes into full swing. It should come into full swing starting next month, but the impeachment trial is going to be going on, so it's actually going to hurt them some. But I love it because they start fighting each other, and the gloves come off, and whoever wants to win has to go for it. It's great. It's great.
To be fair, I do like it when the Democrats start, should I say, flailing at themselves.
Yes.
I'm more progressive than you.
Prospero's in chat. She says it's hard to know what's what when they can't even define what is. Indeed. And Prospero yells at me all the time for not knowing things. She yells at me a lot, you guys.
At least now you know that Girardi isn't Prospero.
I'm an abused host.
Welcome to the rest of the people that we normally stream with.
Yeah.
This is we need a hotline. The abused host hotline.
Oh, if you did that, then well, first of all, have you heard of a streamer by the name of the Mad Libertarian?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay, that man, that poor sod.
He does it
gets
to himself,
abused.
though. He invites them on.
He does. No, that is actually very true. He gets absolutely abused by everybody in both his chat and his stream. I think one of the best comments I ever saw was typed into his chat. I just put it on mute and enjoy myself chatting with you guys. I don't care what they're talking about.
Nice. But you know, that's kind of a good community. I mean, it's kind of horrible for the host, but that's a good community to have where people just want to talk with each other.
Yeah.
It is, to be fair. He is a good lad, to be fair. I mean, everybody, including myself, normally takes the piss right out of him, but he's generally a good lad. He really is.
Shardy says, Monkey, you and I have streamed together before. When was this? Were you under this name? And you have to remember my memory is shit anyway. So if it was past yesterday, there's a good chance I don't remember it.
Sound like her. She's
not
necessarily great for memory.
Quinn, you were the one who said you don't know me. So let me just to let you know. For at least the last year, I stream at least 4 hours every day. And yeah, that's at least. Normally it's 6 to 8. And every so often people go, you remember when you said this? I'm like, no.
Fair.
You know how many words ago this was?
Yeah, I can understand that, mate. Like, you know, anything more than 24 hours, and it's like, what? I totally understand that feeling. Don't worry.
Now, occasionally I will have a vague memory of it, or they'll say something and it triggers it. And I'm like, because a lot of the times when that comes up, it's somebody trying to prove me. A lot of people try to prove me a hypocrite. Like, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just an asshole. There's a big difference.
There is a very big difference.
Oh, yes.
You've streamed with Dodd, Mad Libertarian. I've streamed with a lot of people. And I am so, look, now I feel horrible. I don't remember people in
really
real
shouldn't.
life.
You really shouldn't feel horrible, so it's fine. It's just Shirati.
I've been streaming for 3 years now. And yeah, I don't remember most of I remember the people I do it with on a regular basis. And even sometimes then it's the other night, somebody I stream with quite often, a guy named the One Ton Hammer. I kept calling him the wrong damn name.
Whoops.
While he was on my show with me. Like,
Oh God.
my bad.
So Quinn,
Okay.
at least feel privileged that he actually remembered your name. I mean, it does help that it's written, but you know.
As you say, in fairness, I
Yeah.
can see it on my screen right there.
Don't
I'm
worry,
horrible with
mate.
names. I really am. And I feel bad about it.
If you didn't actually say my name, there's a good chance I'd forget it. So don't feel bad.
Fair enough. Yeah. Don't be surprised if one day you're watching the show and I'm like, who's Monkey? Oh.
That's bad.
It's like that Monkey. Oh, well, I take medicine that fucks with my memory. I actually have a pretty decent memory, but my short-term memory is just garbage because of this stuff. And I wasn't good with names before. So I forget quickly, and I apologize for it.
Fair enough. I only have one more thing to ask you. It may be a 20-minute thing though, because I am slightly changing subjects. There was a bill that was passed, which is classified as a 1 trillion bill that got passed underneath another name type thing. And in that bill, they're going to be sending £400 billion to Afghanistan, to the Afghani rehabilitation, like the funding, the police, the army, and that type of stuff. How do you feel about the Democrats allowing $400 billion to go to Afghan, but won't spend, $10 billion on the wall?
You're talking about the $1.4 trillion spending budget that was just passed. And
yeah, overall, yes.
Yeah. We just had the Afghanistan papers released, which it was a Washington Post story. Starting back in 2016, I believe it was. It could have been 2015. Don't quote me. I think it was 2016. The government started collecting interviews with people involved with Afghanistan, military leaders and political leaders. And what they found is that none of these guys know why we're there. None of them know what we're doing. None of them know how we're going to get out. And none of them think what we're doing is helping at all. This is a war that we've spent billions on. I forget the exact numbers. It's almost $1 trillion was the number, but it's like 900 and some odd billion at the time of the writing.
Yeah.
We've had 2,400 soldiers killed. The Afghani security forces, the guys we're training, have had 60,000 of their people killed.
Yeah.
Afghanistan citizens, 40,000. Taliban soldiers, 40,000. And then you have several thousand of various different things, aid workers, independent contractors, press, just more than 100,000 people dead for reasons nobody can explain. And you hear stories of money just being poured over there, hoping it's going to help, and it hasn't. Whether it's in relation to the wall or not, this needs to stop. It needs to stop. We need to, if we can't explain why we're there and what we're doing, we need to pull our boys home and just stop.
Yeah.
We knew going into Afghanistan, because of the Afghanistan-Russian war, that this is not an area you can just go in and take over the land. It is a tribal existence over there. These are warring tribes that it's not a country in the way the Western world kind of tends to think of them. You know, if you take over England, you take over fucking England. You take over Afghanistan, you're taking over a part of it, and there's another warring tribe right beside it that may or may not be on your side.
Yeah.
It is a giant shit show. And the fact that Congress didn't immediately start scheduling hearings on this shit when they heard this, and they didn't because they already know. And the fact that it dropped out of the press so fast. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit passionate on this one.
No. I appreciate it. That us British don't necessarily know everything that goes on, obviously, in the Senate and the House and that. So it's quite illuminating, knowing that somebody actually knows what they're talking about. Or
these These assholes all know what's going on, and none of them are calling for it to stop. And instead, they just poured billions more into it, which is a waste of money and is just getting a whole bunch of people killed for nothing. I think it's a disgrace that they passed that.
No, I completely agree with you. I really do. I have nothing really else to add on to that. I just thought it was interesting knowing that with the actual bill that was passed, not the papers, but with the bill that was passed under the motion of Trump's impeachment, they were able to say that there was a $400 billion dollars, still going to Afghanistan under the new financial powers and whatnot. And I was just wondering how Democrats themselves, because obviously they were the ones who massively passed that bill, are able to square that circle when, as you quite rightly said, they're doing nothing. And if they won't even defend their own border, so to speak, why are they sending money or pumping money into another country that they don't even know why they're there?
Nobody wants to be the one to say America lost a war. And we didn't. That's the horrible thing about this. When we first went over to Afghanistan, President Bush's mandate was stop Al-Qaeda and make it so they can never attack us again. By that mandate, we accomplished that within the first 2 years. But after that, everybody decided, well, we need to rebuild this country too. We need to make it into a Western democracy. And nobody wants to be the one to say we failed at that. So everybody, part of the Afghanistan papers that came out was the fact that our political leaders on both sides keep coming out and telling us how great things are going, how great it's going. It's not. They're lying to us, and they're getting people killed, and they're spending money for nothing. And when I talked about this on my show when it first came out, I actually teared up a little bit. And I had a friend who died in Afghanistan. See, I'm going to do it again. His vehicle hit an IED. And to read those papers and see he died for nothing. And our Congress doesn't care. Our president, look, Mr. Trump, you motherfucker, you ran on getting us out of this kind of shit. Get us the fuck out. Period. You want to take attention away from this fucking stupid ass impeachment? Call our boys home so they stop dying over there for nothing.
Yeah, I understand your point there. I'm ex-British Army. I was one of the people that almost died over there. So yeah, IED. I was bomb disposal. Things didn't work out so well. Yeah. So fun. I understand exactly where you're coming from, mate.
I'm happy you made it home, my friend.
Thank you very much.
And these poor kids that are going over there, I mean, they're doing it for a sense of duty and honor, and I get that. But they're being used here for politicians to be able to say we're doing something. You want to do something? Bring them the fuck home.
Yeah. But even when they do something like that with something similar to Syria, you still have people that would always claim that they didn't want anything to do with any wars, saying, oh, you can't leave now because of this.
Yeah.
But yet you were calling for them to leave literally 2 days ago, but then he'd done it and now Trump bad for some reason?
I'm actually surprised they didn't try to pin or to use this to try to make Trump look bad, because Trump, he did run as a non-interventionalist and say he was going to bring our folks home from Syria. And I can't remember if he directly said Afghanistan or if he just hinted to it. But it's time.
I think he said Middle East as a whole.
Yeah, we've been there for 18 years. We haven't changed anything. The Taliban's actually growing again.
Yeah.
Leave them to their shit and just warn them. Look, you touch us again. If somebody from over here, some group that you guys know is doing this shit, we are going to turn you into glass, period. We're not sending our boys over next time. We're going to glass you. And leave it at that.
Completely different over here.
Just leave it at that. We will turn you into a giant glass parking lot. And we won't even have to get out of bed to do it.
True.
Because it's Yeah, it's horrible what's happening over there. And Prosper, I see is our main goal should be to disrupt Taliban, Al Qaeda, and Pakistan plots. And I get you there, I do, but it's not even close to what we're doing.
No,
and I know you know this. She's going to yell at me. I know that. I know you know this. But that's not what we're doing over there. We're over there. We're trying to nation build. We're building schools. There was one story in there of a contractor. Sorry, he's not a contractor. He was an army specialist who was told he had to spend $1 million a day in a tiny little town, in a tiny little area. He had to spend $1 million a day. So he's trying to find ways to get rid of it. And amazingly, this is probably going to shock you guys, there's a lot of political corruption over there with money.
I never would. You're right. I am absolutely stunned.
When I read that, my jaw hit the ground. I was like, oh, you fucking idiots. You absolute idiots. So yeah, we're just pumping all this money. That's when you brought up how much, the 400 billion.
Yeah.
Almost a full fifth of this fucking spending bill is going to do more of this. To build schools they're not using, to build roads they don't need, just to try to turn them into a Western nation so we can say we did it.
To give them funding for military operations as well, and to give them weapons, to give them armaments, which, as we all know, will disappear anyway.
Or be used against us.
Generally.
We've seen that many times.
Yep. Very much so.
Iraq, for instance.
Yeah. Very much so. That's one thing that I always find really interesting about people that say that with guns and things like that. Now, not to go into the gun argument because that's something completely different. But if America obviously has guns, lots and lots of guns, if the government was ever to turn hostile to the populace would be able to take on the government. There's more people. They would be able to repurpose anything that they shoot down. If the Taliban and Afghanistan people can do that to the Americans over there, then the Americans can do it quite easily to their own government, if pushed.
Yeah, if we were pushed, we definitely could. It would turn ugly and bloody. The government definitely has stronger weapons than us. But urban guerrilla kind of warfare is hard to, as we've seen in many places, is hard to fight. And when you have a trained populace, yeah, that would not go well at all.
Yeah. I always find that argument really interesting from people.
You have a super chat, and it's a question for me.
It is indeed. What's your political ideology, Ranting Monkey? Libertarian?
I'm what you would call a conservative-leaning libertarian, or a libertarian-leaning conservative, whichever you prefer. If I described it, and there's a reason I don't describe it this way, I would say I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in our Constitution, but there is a constitutional party over here, and they're fucking wackos. So I believe in our Constitution, and I believe in very small government. I believe in the states and the local governments having far more power than the president. Should not be the most powerful man in the world. He never should have been. That's not his job. His job is to be our head of state. The end. He's except for when it comes to his job as commander in chief, he's mostly a figurehead. But we've turned him into something very different. And I want a small government. I want a mostly non-interventionalist military. There's times I believe, look, yeah, we have to go do something because it does become an American interest. World War II, we should have got into that before we got bombed, frankly.
Yeah.
It was in our interest to do so. But for the most part, like the shit we're doing in Iraq or in Afghanistan, we shouldn't be there. Syria shouldn't be there. That's their fight. But again, we had to get involved. Got to spread that democracy, you guys. Fuck.
Yeah.
But because of that, these days I would be a Republican, except for I can't bring myself to vote for those shitbags.
I suppose,
don't hold it in.
I gotta,
how you really feel.
I got to get over the shyness.
I've noticed. Unfortunately, CSG, I'm going to have to head off, mate. Okay.
No problem. I think we're going to be wrapping up very soon anyway. The only thing that I would probably add to this is, would you call yourself a conservatarian then, as I know that that's his name and that's his political ideology as well?
Not quite. I'm not. I'm just conservative in the fact that I think we should stick to the Constitution more. And that changes with party and stuff. So and issue. There's times each side decides that the Constitution means something to them.
Yeah,
we heard a whole lot about it during these impeachment hearings from people who've never talked about the Constitution before,
or even understand it more than an Englishman that has no idea what the Constitution actually is.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah, I think we're going to leave last words. I will let Quinn go first, so if he wants to get off after that, then he can do. Then Monkey can, and then I will. And then we'll wrap it all up.
All right. Well, first of all, absolute pleasure to meet you, Monkey.
Oh,
You're
indeed.
highly
Same.
entertaining, dude, and it would be awesome one day if you'd actually pop on to Mad Dodgy's show, because I think you would enjoy yourself there. And as for my final words, Jeremy Corbyn needs to be dipped into acid, rolled in salt, and then catch space aids and die an agonizing death. I am so happy that man is not going to be our prime minister.
Fair play.
And that's my opinion.
Well said.
Monkey, after you, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet both of you. I've really enjoyed this conversation. You never know what you're going to get when you go on a new show, and you guys are very easy to talk to, and I appreciate that. Yeah, pleasure to Quinn. Very, very. I've enjoyed your accent, by the way. I really love. I like.
Thank you.
There's so many accents over there.
Yeah,
and I tend to like the ones that are just a little. I'm sorry the way I'm going to say it, a little off. Because you sound British, but you sound like a mean British person.
I'm from South London. We are the ones. Well, we're the place that the taxi drivers won't go at night because they're scared in case we eat them or something.
There you go. Yeah, your accent fits that, and it's great. Not that yours is bad. I'm not trying to imply that, but I tend like Drunken Uncles is like my favorite accent ever.
Yeah, I love Drunken Uncle.
And I know it's a put on most of the time, but I've talked to him often. I've heard it, and it annoys a lot of people. I fucking love it. It makes my ears happy. So yeah, I love your voice. And as for going anywhere, my DMs are open. My schedule is weird. Like catching me during the day like this is very weird because I'm usually sleeping at this time. But yeah, hit me up and we'll try to work something out. Just don't be offended if I can't, because like I said, my schedule's fucking weird. I can't even do my own show most of the time on a schedule. That's fact. You can ask anybody. My final word, I just appreciate that there's shows like this that talk about politics, because too many people tune out from politics, and it could be interesting without being a horrible shit show like it turns out to be so much. And I appreciate that you guys are out there having conversations. It's awesome, and I appreciate you guys inviting me on.
No, I appreciate you coming on. My final word is going to be very, very quick, and I'm actually going to quote one of the people in the chat, which is Matt Barkley. The word is fuck politics. After Monkey just said, it's good to talk about politics, fuck politics.
You know what? I still agree.
Yeah.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for taking time to watch this show. If you would leave a like, please leave a like. If you do like it that much, share it. If not, don't worry about it. Thank you very much. Speak to you all again. Bye-bye for now. Take care.